Why do you think there is a global rental inflation? Do you think uh, we have an equilibrium in terms of supply and demand in rental housing? But what do you think will happen in the upcoming months or years? Do you see a saturation happening in the rental inflation? Hey Ajay, there is a new elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. So, as per CNBC, Singapore's home rentals have gone up by 29.7%. India's metro cities are seeing a hike of 23% rental inflation. Europe sees 11.9% increase in rent year on year. And rental inflation in USA has seen the highest of 29.8%. Why do you think there is a global rental inflation?
There's a lot of different reasons for that. I think the biggest one has been that during the pandemic, there was a short but significant decline in the rents that people were paying for a lot of reasons. People were anticipating a recession, a lot of people went back to their hometowns, etc. So instantly there was a dip in demand because of which the rents went down. Now what we're seeing is that is getting corrected significantly. So one reason why the amounts seem very high in magnitude is because there was a dip in 2020 and now that it's kind of like increased from there. But that's not the only real reason. A big reason is that there has been an increase in federal interest rates across the board. There was a zero interest rate phenomena where the rates like reduced significantly in between. Now that rates have increased. If you look at, let's say, Singapore, for example, the interest rate was around 2% going into the pandemic, like on average 2 to 3%, which has now become about like 5% in a lot of different banks in Singapore. If you take, let's say, India as an example, going into the pandemic, the home loan interest rate was hovering around 6.5%. Right now, it's about 8.5 to 9%. So what that really means is that for someone who owns a property, their mortgage or their EMIs to repay that particular loan has increased. So monthly, it has increased anywhere from 25% to 50% in different cases. To adjust for this, landlords also need to increase the rent so that they can also recover and their cash flows are not hit too much. These are a couple of the reasons why the rents seem to be increasing all across the board.
I totally get this. Do you think we have an equilibrium in terms of supply and demand in rental housing?
Most definitely not. What's happening is that now that there is a back to office phenomena, a lot of people are coming back into cities. Travel is open, like hopefully we are beyond this pandemic by now. Because of that, there is a huge surge in demand which has outweighed the supply. A lot more people have come back in now than there were before. So that's kind of made the demand supply economics skew in the favor of the side of low supply and high demand. That's increased the rentals all across the board. Something else that we're noticing is that earlier when people were looking for houses for rent, a lot of people were okay to share a house. Now people are not okay to share a house.
Okay.
Even families who are shifting houses. Earlier, let's say a nuclear family might have been okay with, let's say, like a 2-bedroom apartment, but now they want a 3-bedroom apartment because work has also become hybrid and they want to have their own study at home. So what's really happened is that the demand cycles have changed. Earlier, let's say maybe like 3 singles would have maybe like shared a 3-bedroom apartment with each other, but now everybody wants a 1-bedroom apartment themselves. So there are micro segments within the economy or within the housing market where there is not enough supply and there is now a lot more demand. That has kind of like led to a lot of increase in the rent, and that explains a lot of the increase in rent because the demand has also increased, but where the demand is coming from has also changed from a demographic perspective. Another phenomena that we're noticing is that there are certain pockets in every city where the demand has once again increased a lot more than other pockets. For example, a lot more offices have started setting up in the heart of the city. We're noticing that here in Bangalore, but we've also heard that in places like Dubai, like in Singapore, like in many parts of Europe as well. Because offices don't need a lot of spaces because they're supporting hybrid work environments, they're happy to take an office inside the city. And people obviously want to live close to where they work, because of which the demand inside cities or like even in certain zip codes, even if it is outside the city where hubs have formed for various different industries, For certain zip codes and pin codes, the demand has like increased even more than some other zip codes, and all of these have like led to increases in rent all across the board.
So, Ajay, we have been discussing multiple solutions to the global rental inflation. But what do you think will happen in the upcoming months or years? Do you see a saturation happening in the rental inflation?
I hope so. The rents have gotten very unaffordable to very big sections of society, and that is really not a good thing. It's not a good place to be in. I do feel that there is going to be some correction. As an example, in the US, in the last 12 months, the rents have largely stabilized. I was seeing this report the other day that in most markets, rental inflation is down to zero over the last 12 months. In a couple of markets, it's reduced by 2 to 3% as well. So that's an early indication that okay, like things are like rationalizing a little bit more. Also, from an empirical perspective, from customers of the house monk and like our conversations with them, we hear from them as well that rents have not increased as much over the last 12 months as it has before. This is data across Dubai, like India, like Singapore, like some parts of Europe as well. So it looks like there is been a correction in the market, and we can hope that, or we can only hope that it will stay the same. So let us see how it works out.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks for throwing light on this global rental inflation. We'll look forward to what is happening.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Ajay. See you.